Yibing Wu, President of CITIC Private Equity Funds Management. We've been hearing here at Super Return Asia about China being a hot market for private equity. How hot is it right now?
I think the market is actually just getting started. If you really talk about the private equity industry, it is a very obviously hot market because it has both the tailwind in terms of both the sales growth and the profit expansion, as well as a more multiple expansion opportunity in China. And if anyone would believe in the China's continuous GDP growth, and then it becomes a sort of easy target for private equity, even without leverage. And then the historical for the last 5 years, many funds has achieved anywhere between 3 and 5x return, and some even more.
A lot of R&B funds are emerging, and many of them are unlicensed.
Private equity in China is not a licensed activity. The NDRC, which is regulatory agency, has loosened from a registration to a notification, essentially. So anyone can establish a private equity fund, but if you want to raise a renminbi fund more than 5 billion, you do have to have NDRC approval. So you have a lot of sub 5 billion renminbi funds, which are unregulated, as you said, essentially doesn't need any approval. Just as anything in China, things come in different shape and quality. Yes, there is a large number of claimed renminbi funds, but I would say less than a small percentage, less than 5% of them, has really the characteristic of a private equity funds, which is independent governance, as in you make investment decision based on economic outcome, not based on certain policy or regional development objective. And you have alignment of interest. Well, the managers have substantial part of the economics, particularly the carry, and you're not just paid as government employee. So if you're taking on those two screens, one of them is governance, the other one is alignment of interest or compensation, I probably rule out 95% of the funds. So probably there will be, I don't know, a couple of dozen funds left that are, I would say, legitimate competitors who are likely going to be around 5 years from today.
It almost seems like the Wild East at the moment, with people jumping on the bandwagon.
It is a fast development market. Not all of them will make money. Most people will lose money. I will say most of the inexperienced, the new funds, and particularly those lack of governance and incentive structure, and they will lose money. And but I think, as anything in China, the washout will be very fast. I think any firm survive less than more than 5 years or more than 2 years would be exception. But the tailwind is strong. If you find the leading GPs in the market, let's say the top dozen or 2 dozen leading GPs, and the odds are pretty good, then they probably will make money.
We've been hearing how some US LPs are rather anxious about getting into Asia, that they may have allocations of 5 to 10%, but they haven't been actually using them. What would your advice be?
I think it's the same thing, and I think as in private equity, even in the US, top quartile makes most of the money, and 75% of losers' money. It all comes down to GP selection. I think as in any LP, probably how do you get local insight? I think private equity at the end of the day is a local industry. So find those GPs. One is the institutional quality, and people have worked in has institutional quality people, have institutional quality governance, and have a good alignment of interest. And the second would be really look for the GPs have on the ground local network and experience. And I think at the end of the day, that's what can distinguish one firm from the other. And the last end, I think is always come down to quality of the people. And would you look at the GP, the partners, eye to eye? Can you trust these individual or this individuals? I think it's nothing different than the U.S. It's just the market is so new, and people are LPs don't have a lot of experience in picking GPs. Relatively speaking, the teams are younger compared to in the U.S. You don't have a 20, 30-year experience history. But as I said, this is a very fast evolving market. So I think there is a I think a lot of change or a lot of growth in the market. That's the benefit.
You were talking yesterday at a round table that you're talking about due diligence, and financial statements may not mean much. So how can you actually do proper due diligence?
Our slogan is leave no stones unturned, right? So the financial the information is less trustworthy, let me put it this way, compared to the mature market. But you do have the Big Four here, and then those companies that are audited by Big Four are more reliable. And we require the Big Four company to do the financial diligence for us. And most importantly, that we rely on our third-party check and verification. We interview the suppliers, we interview the customers, the competitors, and we do cross-checking on inventory, we do cross-checking on receipts, and we talk to various levels of the company. And when you have big enough team and doing with the mentality of doing thorough diligence and spend long enough time, you'll find the problems, and then you make the judgment. And are these trustworthy companies? Are this intentional fraud, or are these omissions? And then is this the default that can be fixed, or that's a moral hazard? And based on that judgment, you make your investment decision.
So you'd say that you can make money in China, but you'd have to be cautious.
I think as in any market, that you have to be cautious. I would say the macro condition probably is more favorable than any other market. You do have industries, entire industries grow at 20% CAGR, which is very, very rare. And that has been that case for the last dozen years, and probably there will be up and downs, but overall we continue this trend for the next 8-10 years. I think that's the opportunity there, but I think is the experienced team and institutional quality GP. That's rare. So I think at the end of the day, LPs have to do GP selection. At the end of the day, GPs has to focus on building capabilities that can capture this opportunity and mitigate the risk.
Yibing Wu of CITIC Private Equity Funds Management, thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much.